October is coming, and right now today in the heat of July, the gardeners who will have the most abundant fall tables are already planting. Most people don't realize the window is even open. Some of them gave up on the season weeks ago. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Your fall harvest doesn't start in September. It doesn't start when the air cools down, or the leaves turn. It starts in the ground right now, in July, in the heat. And if you miss this window even by 2 or 3 weeks, some of these crops simply won't make it before frost. I've got 7 seeds for you today. And I'll be honest with you, number 1 on this list is the one that surprised me most when I first learned it. It's also the one most gardeners are completely skipping right now, buying it at the grocery store, all fall instead, without realizing they could have grown it for pennies. We're going from 7 down to 1. Let's get into it. If you're the kind of gardener who wants to grow more food with less guesswork, practical, honest advice from a real garden, subscribe. That's exactly what this channel is about. Okay, seed #7 bush beans. And before you think I already know about beans, stay with me, because there's a reason they're on this list that most gardeners miss entirely. Bush beans are one of the only vegetables on this list that actually want July conditions. Hot soil, warm nights. Most seeds struggle to germinate in midsummer heat. Beans? They thrive in it. Soil temperatures between 70 and 85 degrees are their sweet spot for germination, which means, while other seeds are fighting the heat, beans are taking full advantage of it. They go directly in the ground, no starting indoors, no transplanting, no trays. Just press them an inch deep, roughly 3 inches apart, and water them in. In about a week, you'll see them pushing through the soil. Here's where beans get really interesting, and this is the part almost nobody mentions. Beans are nitrogen fixers. That means as they grow, they're pulling nitrogen from the air and depositing it into the soil through their root system. So when you pull your bean plants out in October and follow them with a fall green spinach, lettuce, arugula, that bed is richer than it was before. The beans improved it just by growing there. That's the kind of efficiency that makes a garden start working for you instead of the other way around. For July, look for Provider, Contender, or Blue Lake varieties. They're all fast, 55 to 60 days, which puts your harvest right in late September and into October. One more thing. Don't plant all your beans at once. Sow a short row now and another row 10 days later. That rolling harvest means you're picking fresh beans over weeks instead of scrambling to deal with everything at once. Now beans are fast and they're satisfying. But the next seed on this list is the one I'd argue is the most overlooked July planting in the entire vegetable garden. Most people think they missed the window months ago. They didn't. Seed #6 beets. Here's something that surprises most gardeners. Beets are actually one of the best crops you can start right now in July. Not because they love the heat, but because of what happens to them once the heat is gone. Beets planted in July develop their roots through the warm, late summer weeks, and then something interesting happens as fall arrives. The cool temperatures, same biological process that sweetens kale, same reason October carrots taste different from July. Carrots trigger the plant to convert starches into sugars. A beet pulled out of cold October soil is genuinely, measurably sweeter than one pulled in August. The cold does the work for you. But here's the part that makes beets especially smart for July. You don't have to wait for the roots. The greens are edible in as little as 30 days. Young beet greens are mild, tender, and work exactly like spinach sautéed with garlic, tossed into a salad, stirred into eggs, so you're getting a harvest in a month, while the root quietly keeps growing underneath. 2 harvests, 1 seed. That's real value from a $3 packet. Beet seeds also handle July soil temperatures well. Germination stays strong up to around 85 to 90 degrees, which gives them a real advantage right now over some of the cool season crops we'll get to in a minute. Sow them 1/2 inch deep, and once the seedlings are a few inches tall, thin to about 3 to 4 inches apart. Don't skip the thinning crowded beets. Make small, tough roots. Detroit Dark Red and Chioggia are both excellent for fall harvests. And if you want to convert someone who thinks they don't like beets, try Golden. Milder, sweeter, and genuinely beautiful on the plate. There's a real satisfaction in pulling beets out of cooling fall soil. It feels like finding something you forgot you planted. But now I want to talk about something most gardeners give up on in summer, when they absolutely should not. It's one of the easiest seeds on this list to grow, and the flavor it produces in fall is one of the best arguments for starting your garden now. Seed 5 basil. I know what you might be thinking. Basil is a summer herb. That's done. Here's why that thinking costs you 2 months of fresh herbs every single year. Most gardeners plant basil in May or June, enjoy it through early summer, and then watch it bolt shoot up, flower, go bitter by late July, and they chalk it up to the season ending. What experienced gardeners do instead is plant a second round right now. A succession planting. Basil in July, soil germinates in 5 to 7 days. That's one of the fastest germinations in the vegetable garden. You'll have fresh young plants producing beautiful leaves just as the summer heat softens into late August and September. And those plants started in July, never having experienced the stress of early summer, often grow more vigorously than your first round. This is also the moment to try something beyond sweet basil. Thai basil has a slightly anise flavor that's incredible in stir-fries. Lemon basil is bright and floral. Purple basil, dark opal or amethyst, is genuinely stunning in the garden and makes one of the best pestos you'll ever eat. All of them start the same way. Press seeds lightly onto the soil surface, barely cover them, keep them moist until they sprout. Full sun. Thin to about 8 inches once they're a couple of inches tall. Pinch any flower spikes the moment you see them. That single habit keeps your plant producing leaves for weeks longer than it otherwise would. Here's the honest payoff of July basil. You're sitting at dinner in late September pulling leaves off a plant that your spring planting neighbors have long since given up on. That's not a small thing. That's the whole point of knowing when to plant. Now we're moving into the top 4. And this is where the list gets genuinely interesting. The next seed is one most people only think of as a warm season crop. What they don't realize is that July might actually be the best time of year to plant it. Not despite the heat, but because of what happens after it. We're halfway through this list, and I want to tell you the next 4 seeds are where I'd focus most of your energy this month. One of them involves a trick for germinating in summer heat that changes everything about how you plant in July. One of them is so counterintuitive that most gardeners refuse to believe it works until they try it. And number 1, the one I've been building toward, is the single most valuable thing you can start this week. Don't leave before we get there. Seed Hecuvier Kala. And I need you to hear this one out before you decide you already know it, because there's something about kale most gardeners get backwards their entire growing life. Most people think kale is a spring crop. Start it early, harvest through spring, pull it when summer arrives. And yes, you can do that. But here's what changes everything. Kale started in July is actually better than kale started in spring. Not just a little better. Measurably, noticeably better in ways you'll taste. Kale that grows through spring has to survive the heat of summer. That heat stresses the plant. It makes the leaves tougher, more bitter, and more vulnerable to caterpillars and aphids, which are at their worst in those warm months. Kale started in July does the opposite. It establishes roots in late summer while the soil is still warm, and then it hits its stride exactly as fall arrives and pest pressure drops. By October, you have a vigorous, productive plant doing exactly what it was meant to do in exactly the conditions it loves. But here's the part that surprises people. Kale actually sweetens after a frost. This isn't folklore. It's plant biology. When temperatures drop below freezing, kale converts its starches to sugars as a natural cold tolerance mechanism. A leaf pulled in mid-November, after 2 or 3 hard frosts, tastes completely different from a leaf pulled in August. Sweeter, more tender, almost nutty. Gardeners who've only ever eaten summer kale have genuinely never tasted what kale can be. The frost does the seasoning for you. For planting, direct sow now in most zones, 1/4 to 1/2 inch deep. If you're in zone 7 and warmer, starting seeds indoors where it's a few degrees cooler and transplanting in 3 weeks gives your seedlings a better start before facing outdoor heat. Lacinato, sometimes called dinosaur kale, is the most cold-hardy and flavorful variety for fall. Red Russian is slightly milder and beautiful in the garden. One plant, harvested from the outside leaves in, can produce fresh greens for 3 to 4 months. That's real self-sufficiency from a single seed packet. The next one is fast, loved by pollinators, and blooms right when the rest of your garden starts to look tired. It also belongs here for a reason most people don't expect. Seed, #3 zinnias. Yes, flowers. And I put them this high on the list, deliberately. Here's the part most gardeners don't connect. The productivity of your vegetable garden in fall depends significantly on what's blooming nearby. Cucumbers, squash, beans, even late-season tomatoes. They all need pollinators to set fruit. And by late summer, most of the flowering plants that attracted pollinators all spring are done. The garden goes quiet. And when the garden goes quiet, fruit set drops. Zinnias fix that. They're one of the most powerful pollinator magnets you can plant, butterflies especially, and they do it in exactly the conditions that drive other flowers out: heat, drought, late-season stress. You sow them now, a 1/4 inch deep, and in 60 days you have color that runs straight through to your first frost. Deep reds, electric oranges, clean whites. While everything else in the garden is winding down, zinnias are at their absolute best, and practically they could not be simpler. Water them for the first 2 weeks until they're established, and after that they're largely self-sufficient. No trellising, no staking in most varieties. No fussing. Look for profusion varieties for continuous small blooms, or Benary's giant if you want large statement flowers. Both are reliable from direct sow in July. The pollinator connection matters more than most people realize. More pollinators in late summer means better cucumber yields, better squash production, better bean set. The zinnias aren't just making the garden look good. They're making the garden produce better. That's the real reason they're on this list. Now the next 2 seeds are the ones I'd argue are the most time-sensitive on this entire list. One of them has a germination challenge in summer heat that I'm going to show you exactly how to solve. And the other one, number 1, most gardeners don't even know they should be starting indoors right now. Both of them could be the best planting decisions you make all year. Seed #2 cucumbers. And this is where the heat germination trick I mentioned earlier comes in, because cucumbers in July are absolutely worth growing, but only if you know how to handle the conditions. First, the good news. Cucumbers are fast. Most varieties go from seed to harvest in 55 to 65 days. Plant now, and you're picking in mid to late September, which is honestly ideal weather for them. Cucumbers under stress from peak summer heat produce bitter fruit. Cucumbers maturing in the cooling temperatures of early fall? Crisp, mild, sweet. The September harvest is often better than the July one. Here's the variety secret that makes July cucumbers work. Choose Armenian cucumbers if you can find them. Technically a melon, but indistinguishable from a cucumber in flavor and texture. Armenian varieties handle summer heat at germination far better than standard slicers or English cucumbers, which can stall or rot in hot soil before they even sprout. Now the germination trick. July soil can get hot enough to prevent some seeds from sprouting at all. The fix is simple. Water your planting area thoroughly in the evening, let the soil cool overnight, and sow your seeds first thing in the morning before the sun heats things back up. Then lay a thin layer of straw or dry grass clippings over the seed bed, just enough to shade the soil surface without blocking light once the seeds sprout. That single step can drop your soil temperature by 5 to 10 degrees and dramatically improve germination rates. Remove the mulch layer gently once you see the first seedlings pushing through. Plant cucumbers an inch deep, 12 inches apart. If you have a trellis, use it. Vertical growing in late summer improves airflow around the plant, which reduces powdery mildew, the disease that takes out more late-season cucumbers than anything else. There's something about picking a cucumber in September that feels like a bonus, like the garden gave you one more round when you thought it was over. But the garden isn't over. Not even close. And the reason I know that the reason this whole video exists comes down to seed number 1. Seed. Cancellettuno broccoli. Number 1. And I genuinely believe this is the most valuable thing most gardeners could do in their garden this week. Broccoli. I know, it doesn't sound like a July crop. It sounds like a spring crop, and that association is exactly why most people miss this window entirely. They'll buy broccoli at the grocery store all October and November, never realizing they could have been cutting it fresh from their own garden, from plants they started for the cost of a few seeds. Here's what changes everything. Broccoli is actually one of the best fall crops that exists. The problem is timing. To have broccoli ready to harvest in October and November, you have to start the seeds right now indoors in July. That indoor step is what most gardeners don't know about. They think broccoli gets direct sown in the garden, or that it's too late. Neither is true. Broccoli started directly in July garden soil will struggle. The heat stresses young seedlings fast, and germination rates drop in hot soil. But broccoli started indoors in a tray, in a spot that stays around 65 to 75 degrees, germinates in 5 to 10 days, and grows into a strong transplant ready for the garden in 3 to 4 weeks. By mid to late August, when outdoor temperatures are starting to moderate, those seedlings go in the ground. And from there, they do exactly what broccoli does best in cool conditions. They build dense, tight, flavorful heads. Here's the biology that makes fall broccoli worth growing. Light frost actually improves it. The same starch-to-sugar conversion that sweetens kale after a frost does the same thing to broccoli. Fall-grown broccoli has a slightly sweeter, more complex flavor than spring broccoli. Gardeners who've grown both will tell you there's no comparison. Use a proper seed starting mix, not garden soil, which is too dense and can carry disease. Fill a tray. Sow seeds a 1/4 inch deep. Keep the tray somewhere consistently cool and bright. A grow light set 2 to 3 inches above the tray is ideal. Once your seedlings have 2 sets of true leaves, start hardening them off a few hours outside each day, gradually increasing, and transplant into beds, amended with compost. Space them 18 inches apart. Broccoli is a heavy feeder, and the compost investment now shows up directly in the size of your heads later. For varieties, Waltham 29 is the classic reliable fall performer. Belstar is slightly faster and excellent for zones with a shorter fall window. If you're in zones 4 through 9, a July indoor start works. Northernmost zones start in the very first days of July to protect your harvest window. Think about what that harvest actually looks like. Late October, the garden is mostly quiet. The tomatoes are done. The beans are pulled. And you walk outside and cut a head of broccoli that you grew yourself fresh, in a way that nothing from a grocery store at that time of year can match. It feels like you knew something, like you planned ahead when most people didn't think to. Because you did. October is coming either way. The only question is what you'll be carrying in from the garden when it gets here. Bush beans improving your soil as they produce. Beets sweetening in the cool fall ground. Fresh basil, when everyone else's plants have long gone to seed. Zinnias pulling pollinators in for better fruit, set right to the first frost. Cucumbers crisp and mild in the September cool. Kale getting sweeter every time the temperature drops. And broccoli fresh, homegrown, better than anything in a store cut from plants you started indoors this week. None of this is difficult. None of it requires a perfect garden or years of experience. It requires starting now, in July, when most gardeners have decided the season is over. It isn't over. It's just getting interesting. I want to hear from you. Have you ever planted something in summer and been genuinely surprised by what you got in fall? Tell me what it was in the comments. Those stories are always the most interesting ones to read. And other gardeners learn from them too. And if you want to make sure everything on this list actually performs the soil prep, the bed amendments, the simple things you do now that show up in your October harvest, that's exactly what the next video covers. The seeds are one half of the equation. The ground they go into is the other. I'll see you there.